Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Unplugged Woodworkings podcast. So I haven't really been up to a great deal this week. I've finished all my orders. I haven't got any new orders, unfortunately. I did break me Roman workbench. One of the legs. I was kind of trying to remove a nail. I put a couple of nails in as kind of tool holders. I used to put me planes on them and stuff, but there was a couple of times when I got really close with a saw, and obviously you know what happens when saw teeth meets steel. It's never going to end good, is it? So I removed one quite some time ago. And that was on what I would say was the left side of the bench, towards the front there, the front of the bench, what I identify as the front of the bench. So that's the side what I do a lot of me ripping on. So on the right side, for whatever reason, I was ripping on that side, and I don't really tend to rip on that side too much. And my saw got really close to it, so I says, right, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to take this nail out. So this nail was was really stuck in there. So I think originally I drilled a pilot hole, and I hammered the nail in. So as what I think's happened is obviously the wood's swelled, and it's really got a hold of this nail. So I had a claw hammer, and I was braying the living daylights out with this claw hammer, trying to wedge this nail out, and nothing was happening. So I decided to start jumping on it. So you can guess what happened there. So yeah, there wasn't enough weight on top of the bench to stop it from going in on itself, and obviously I snapped the leg. On a plus side, it did show that I made a really good selection with the wood. Believe it or not, obviously it literally snapped off end to end, the grain. It actually looked pretty dry to us, to be honest. I don't know if there's such a thing as over drying in a kiln. I'm not overly sure, but I am kind of happy that I did choose the right sort of the right grain, the straight grain, if you like. So I would have been a bit upset if it had been taken off, with the grain running out, but it didn't. Today I made a coat hanger, so there'll be some pictures of that on Instagram if you want to check it out. It's super simple. I used some scraps of walnuts and oak. It looks pretty good actually. It's not great, but it's I think it looks pretty cool. It's got some brass screws in it. I used the oak, and I actually made hangers out of the oak. It's super simple. I used a few hand tools. It took us a few hours, and that was including me filming as well, because I am actually going to do a video on this. Super simple. You might save yourself a few quid if you want to check it out. I should be finished editing sometime tomorrow, so possibly dinner time tomorrow it should be out if you want to check that out. There'll be links to all my contents in the description, so go check that out if you want to check it out. I have also been round to my mother's house, and I raided some of my wood stash. I've got 2 boards of elm, I've got few boards of red oak, and 2 boards of ash. So if anybody's got any suggestions of what they'd like us to make, maybe do a video on it, I'd really appreciate some comments, stating what you'd like to see. There's not a great deal of each of it, but there's probably enough to make, somewhere that maybe some sort of table or shelves or maybe something like that. If anyone's got any ideas, if you'd like to see anything, leave a comment on my social media or whatever. I'm a bit stuck. I've been thinking for the last couple of days, and I just really didn't know what to make with this wood I've got. The things I want to make, there's actually not enough wood to make. Ironically, I really need a kitchen table. I haven't gotten round to making a kitchen table, although I was thinking about making an island. So again, I haven't got enough wood to make that island. So as I said, any ideas, I'd really appreciate it. So today, I wanted to talk about toolboxes. It's kind of the be all end all, isn't it? Like when you think about it, like when you first start woodworking, you kind of want to get a bench built, and then you want to get like a really good like toolbox to hold all your tools in. All these tools you're accumulating, and then for me, and anyway, this is what happened to me, and I found out that box really wasn't big enough, and I needed something better and bigger. And then you build something else, and then you're not really happy with that, and then you build something else, you're not really happy with that, and then you build something else. And I even think some of these guys who I would consider maybe experts or masters, I'm pretty sure some of these guys will still like think about toolboxes and tool storage. I'm absolutely sure they will. I know I do. Obviously, I'm no master or anything, but I'm always thinking about things like that. Anything to do with benches and toolboxes. I think I'm a bit of a like what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I like to tinkle with things like that. If you like, I wouldn't say I'm an inventor, but I'm kind of that. I kind of lean that way, if that makes sense. I've always got ideas running about in my head for toolboxes, tool storage, so on and so forth. So I'm just gonna go through like a few of the boxes I've made or used. Just my opinion on them and stuff. As always, this is just my opinion. It's not the be all end all. So, take it with a pinch of salt. First on the list, I have a Japanese toolbox. So I made one of these, or maybe about 2-3 years ago. And this is a big old box, and you can get absolute. To be honest, if I was a bit slimmer, I'd probably be able to fit in the thing. It's that big, I did actually do a video on this. This was one of my earlier videos. It's like there's no like I'm not narrating it or anything. It's just like all high speed. Ironically, when I built the Japanese toolbox, I used all Western tools. I don't think I even owned any Japanese tools at that point in time. In the comments, there's actually a few people that have actually commented, they find it ironic that I've done it with Western tools. So the Japanese box, it's the way it's designed. At least the way mine was. Obviously, this isn't my design. From what I gather, this is quite, or it used to be quite common with the Japanese tradesmen. When they used to, take the tools to people's houses, much like they did in England. Maybe going back like 100 years ago, 100 plus years ago. They'd maybe have like from what I understand, they had like an apprentice. And they had like a bit of a cart or a wheelbarrow, if you like, a wooden cart thing, and obviously they used to just go from house to house for whatever needed doing. So these boxes were like pretty stout, and as I was saying there, the design of the one I've got, if you can think of like a U shape, you know, and it runs, I can't remember the length of it now, but obviously, you know, let's just say argument's sake, it's 600 millimeters for argument's sake. On either side, it's got two housing joints. Obviously, you've got your piece of timber that goes into these housing joints, both ends. This is glued and nailed. I think historically they used like wooden pins, if you like, kind of like a wooden nail. They also, from what I understand as well, they also angled the nails. So when they put the nails in, and I done this when I built mine, you kind of angle them in, kind of like if you can think of dovetails, but instead of obviously dovetails, you've got two nails that are pointing in towards each other, and that's just basically to stop it from pulling out. So this, honestly, the box I've got, you could run a car over it and it would still be, you know, you'd probably damage the car. That's how strong it is. I can see myself having it for a long. It'll outsee me, you know. After I'm long dead, it'll be on a flea market. You know, someone will be selling it. But these are super strong. It's a really good design. Obviously, you've got the lid as well. The lid's a clever little thing as well. For anyone that doesn't know, it kind of locks into place with like a wedge system. That's pretty cool. I have seen different variations on it. Mine's just like a bog standard, like, you know, wedge. I did take the time and I did try to like kind of marry it so it's all nice and neat and whatnot. As a note as well, just while I remember, I did actually use rose head nails, and that was a kind of to make it look pretty sort of thing. The issue I have with mine is that I used 3/4 inch material. I used spruce. That was the lightest wood that was available to us. From what I understand, the Japanese craftsmen used I think it's somewhere in the region of like 1/2 inch material. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% on this, but it would make sense. You know, just because of the weight of it. So the issue with mine is it's really heavy, and that's before there's any tools in it. And then once you start adding tools, you know, the likes of a number 5 plane, a number 4 plane, you know, whatever else I've got in there. Obviously, a lot of the stuff I've got's Western. So when you compare this to you know, like a Japanese tradesman, a lot of his stuff's going to be wood, like wooden tools. Obviously, all his planes are wooden. You know, there's not a lot of weight in the Japanese saws. I don't know how light they are, but I'm pretty sure Japanese saws are a lot lighter than Western saws. You know, so overall, the weight of a traditional Japanese toolbox, you know, the tradesman's tools would be a lot lighter. So, you know, that was one of the issues what I hadn't, you know. I did actually, not so long ago, I did actually think about taking the time and resawing some boards down to redo this, like kind of to revisit it. Because I do like the design of the box. It's just so strong and sturdy, you know. It's kind of, you know, I actually use it kind of a bit like a torsion box. Anyone that's seen any of me videos will, you know, they'll see is actually, you know, just clamp boards to it, you know, while I'm doing like dovetailing and stuff. It's excellent for stuff like that. I've actually got a smaller box that I have been using, but initially I did use that big thing, but it's a bit of a lump when I'm, you know, trying to pull it in and out. Which it is a good thing in the sense that it has got a lot of weight, so I don't need to clamp it down. But at the same time, it's, you know, it's pretty heavy to pull about. I also see a lot of people putting tills in them, there's nothing wrong with this. Obviously, it's just it adds to the weight. It seems a bit silly when I think about it, because I'm always any sort of toolbox or caddy or anything I make, I'm always thinking about like the weight of it, to keep it as light as possible, which, as I've just said, seems a little bit silly because I don't really take my tools anywhere, like out. It's not very often I've got like jobs at people's houses and stuff. I don't really do a lot of that stuff, although I can, but I don't really get a lot of work that way. I think the most my tools travel is like maybe about 20 foot. That's from my garden shed to in the middle of my garden, providing I've got nice sunshine, of course, which I cannot wait for this summertime. I hate working in that shed. My eyes are quite bad. Even if they weren't as bad as what they are, I've talked about this before. You just can't. There's no substitute for for natural daylight. There's just none. It's absolutely great. So I digress. Where am I? So yeah. I mean, people have been putting the tills in them. I think this is like a bit more of a modern thing. I could be wrong, mind you, but. I think it's a bit more of a modern thing. To be honest, I think it's more of a Western thing being transferred into like the Eastern style Japanese box. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just possibly an observation by me and me being a bit picky kind of for myself. But I think if you're into hand tools, I think it's a must. I was lucky enough to get given a load of wood, but this was actually off like a big double bed. It's I believe it's some type of pine or spruce. It's been painted as well, white. It was given to us to actually burn for my log burner. I'm a bit low on wood, so a good friend of mine, he's brought it down for us. Very kind of him. So I'm actually looking at it, and it's there's some actually decent bits there. Obviously, I would have to take the paint away. I'll just take a plane over that. So I am kind of tempted to do another Japanese box. Again, this would be lighter because I'm removing the paint with a plane, and I'm taking that 3/4 inch material, obviously, and I'm making it less. So there might be a build very close in the future, but I think you've got to have a go. Even if it's just like for like an overspill of your tools. Some of the tools you don't really use, you could like box them up and put them out of the way somewhere. I highly recommend you do that. And like I say, if you wanna check the video out, it's there'll be a link in the description. It's kicking about somewhere on my YouTube channel. I'm sure you'll find it if you want to. So next on the list was the very first toolbox I made. This was a toolbox I seen on YouTube. I cannot remember the guy's name. He's an English guy, and I couldn't find the video. I don't know if the video is still kicking about. It probably is somewhere. Basically, his original design was made from plywood. And from what I gather, he was doing it for his students, and then this toolbox was designed to take like onto a job site. So it wasn't really set for like a fine woodworker or a cabinet maker. It was more for you. What you tend to see like more in England now is like you basically call them a chippy, and it's like a chip you'll go onto site. Chippies don't tend to do any sort of joining, whereas obviously I do. You don't really see them doing dovetails and whatever else on site. It just tends to be a lot of screwing, nailing, obviously using power tools and putting roof frames and stuff like that. yeah, obviously a lot of it's prefab when it gets onto site and stuff, so you don't really see a lot of things like that. Anyway, this box was kind of geared more for that. So if you can think of a tool tote, apart from the fact that the two sides of a tool tote would actually, if you could imagine an L, and the sides of a tool tote actually fold down to the ground, and then the tool tote will come back up, but the two L sections will actually meet in the middle, and those actually close. So you would have your handle going from one side to the other side, and the two L sections will actually like fold up and clip into place, and there's a little cutout either side for you to get your hand in. If I find the link, I'll post it, because it is a canny little idea, to be honest. I was over the moon. Again, if you look on my Instagram, there's definitely some footage of it. I even done a footage when I opened it up and I kind of walked around it with my camera. So this might be a couple of years ago. This is going to be right at the start of my Instagram, but it's actually worth having a look just to grasp what I'm talking about. Obviously, on either side of the L shape, when it folds down and then it touches the ground, it kind of opens. If you can imagine a pair of wings, that's kind of how I would describe it. So on the inside there was like a load of tool clips, and I had me chisels on there. I think I had screwdrivers. What else did I have? I think I had a couple of gauges in there. And then in the centre piece, obviously that didn't move the floor. I had like a few planes in there and whatever else. I think, what did I use? I forget the name of the wood now. It kind of looks like, the wood looks like mahogany. It's like kind of a mahogany colour. Although it's not mahogany, I really can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I dovetailed either corner, so it had like two corners that were dovetailed. So I think his original, it wasn't. I think it was just screwed together. I think I could be wrong, but anyway, that's how I done mine. That was pretty cool. But another cool design of it, a design feature, if you like. Once the box was closed up, it was just like kind of, like a big like oblong, if you like, a rectangle, and obviously the top's like flush. So that was part of the design, and I forget the name of the guy. So the guy was basically saying, and that was for you to be able to put material on and use it as a sawhorse, which I thought was a pretty cool idea, to be honest. But like I say, if you have a look on my Instagram, it's worth a look. It's quite interesting. Go check it out. So next on the list is my tool caddy. You can't really say this is a toolbox per se, but it's kind of what I'm using at the moment. So I'm gonna talk about it. I did make a video of this as well. If you wanna go and check it out, go and check my YouTube channel out. The picture of this is actually on the thumbnail for this episode. Depending on what you're listening to this on. Sometimes it comes up and sometimes it doesn't come up, the thumbnail, for some strange reason. So the caddy, it's probably the closest thing I've got to for the accessibility and the weight. I mean, I used, I think it was 9mm ply. This was just plywood that I had pulled out the back of the van when I was doing a van conversion. There was absolutely loads of this. So basically I just used what I had. So you can imagine 9mm ply, it's really light. And the thing I like about this is, if I wanted to, I could actually, I take, is it 2 four, sorry. It's 4 screws. I take out 4 screws, and the whole thing comes apart. It kind of like slots together. I don't know if you can remember, you know, when you were kids and you had those. Can you remember those planes? And these planes were kind of made out of cardboardy, like polystyrene sort of like stuff, and all slotted together. It's kind of like that. Well, although that's kind of what it reminds us of. So I kind of like that, because, you know, if I was going somewhere, you know, and I didn't want any of the tools to be damaged, I could just all hide them inside my Japanese toolbox, which I know, you know, like I said before, you could drive a car over that thing, and I could basically flat pack that caddy and just actually stick it in the Japanese toolbox, you know, when it's taking up next to no room. That's one thing I do like about that. Obviously the weight as well, because, you know, I can get quite a lot of tools on that caddy, and, you know, I mean, what am I talking about here? I've got all my chisels, I've got screwdrivers on it, I've got a number 5 jack plane, I've got a number 4 plane, I've got a spoke shave. What else have I got? I've got my 2 tenon cutters. I've got a router plane on it. I have 2 little block planes. I have my miniature block plane, my little Lufas plane, which I absolutely love. What else have I got in there? I've got a speed square sits on it. I have my 400mm square. I have my 150mm square, combination square these are. What else have I got on there? I've got my Shinto rasp on there. You know, that's quite a lot. That's quite a lot of tools. So even the tools there's quite a bit of weight in just the tools alone. But obviously, because the construction of it, or all of what I've used, the 9mm ply, you know, I'm able to get all them tools and take them outside, obviously, you know, in the summertime. And I absolutely love that about this. To be honest with you, I was actually thinking about making it slightly longer, just so I can mess around and do a few more things to it. But I was actually thinking about that, so I might do that, maybe, because I really do like the design. The thing I don't like about it is it's kind of all revealed, you know, so if I've got it outside and it starts raining, the tools are going to get wet. You know, obviously as soon as it starts raining, I've got to basically grab everything, put everything back on it and get it out of the rain. That's one thing I don't like about it, whereas kind of the thing about a Japanese toolbox or any other type of toolbox that's got a lid, you know, just quickly hide everything into the box and hide the lid on, you know, and then I don't have to worry about it getting too wet after the lid's on, you know, so I can I don't have to be running around like a whatever. I just, you know, because obviously there's nothing covering the caddy, and obviously you've got to kind of try and get it in as quickly as possible, because once water gets onto something, it can be a bit of a nightmare. Things can rust straight away. You know, I'm not going to really go into that, but it can and it does happen, and it's happened to me quite a few times. Obviously, I do a lot of work in the garden. Yeah, I can't at the moment, because the grass is the grass and the mud's just so it's just soggy and boggy, and it's just not workable at the moment. I'm probably looking at maybe another month in the shed, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So, as I said, I did do a video for it. If you want to go and check the video out, it's pretty simple to make. Again, I used hand tools to do this. You know, for me, I thought it was easy. You know, there's nothing hard about it. I think the hardest thing about it is the planning of where you're going to put everything. That's honestly the hardest part about it. Next on the list is a Dutch tool chest. Now, I haven't actually made a Dutch tool chest, although I want to make one, but I don't want to make one at the same time, because of the usability of it. Not the usability of it. That's not the right word. Like, kind of, where. Same again, if you look at any of my posts, on Instagram, or you look at some of my videos, when I'm using the Japanese toolbox, I like to be able to make use of things. So the Japanese toolbox, obviously, I kind of use it like a makeshift moxon vise, if you like. But another thing what I didn't mention before is if you put the lid back on and you put a piece of timber on it and you're using a Japanese saw, depending on the length of the timber, you can actually use the two buttons that go across the lid, to lock the lid into place. You can actually use them buttons as like a stop, like a saw stop, so you put the piece of wood against it and you can actually basically just saw, you know what I mean? It's kind of acting like how dogs would act on, like on the Roman workbench. It's basically hitting against something solid and it can't move. So I kind of like that. Also, occasionally I will have the lid back on, and sometimes I might be marking out. I might have the Roman workbench and I'll have the Japanese toolbox on top of the Roman workbench, and I might lay some material across the top of it and start marking out or whatever. I mean, it really just depends. I could be doing a number of things, so that's what I really like about that. The Dutch tool chest, you can't really do anything like that. For a start, it's got a sloped roof. I mean, the only thing you could really do with a sloped roof would be, or a sloped lid roller, would be to put plans on it, and to take notes, things like that. So you can't really do anything like that. And from everything I've seen, from all the examples I've seen, I don't really know the history of it. Although that might be some good reading for myself sometime. But from what I gather, it's got an overhang all the way around the lid. From it overhangs the main body. So again, you can't really clamp to the. You can't really clamp to the body. I mean, you could open the lid up, I suppose. Possibly. But. As I said, I'm not really 100% on the history. I don't know if they humped one of these tool chests around with them, going from house to house or site to site. I'm not sure if they've done that. I mean, for all the modern examples I've seen, obviously the likes of Chris Schwartz, people like that, they've got them, but it's kind of. It's in a workshop environment. It doesn't leave the workshop, and a lot of them have got them on some casters, like on a little table with casters or whatever. And I think, to be honest with you, I think if I was in that sort of environment, if I had like a real arm shop, I think that's what I would go for. I mean, a shop's not out of the question for us, I keep on toying with the idea. It's still a way away yet, but to basically build myself like a dedicated shop, not a shed. For all sake, it would just be a shed, but it would be a purposely built shed, and it would be a long workshop. Technically, it would be a workshop, but. If I ever get round to building something like that, I think probably that would be the way to go. One thing I do really, really like about the Dutch tool chest is that when you open it up, you've got your tools, like your tools are all ready just to pull out. You know, the same sort of setup as the caddy. You know, one thing I don't like about the Japanese toolboxes, you know, the way they were traditionally used. The tools in them, you basically had to open the box up and then take everything out of the box, you know, like, or what, at least what you needed. So, you know, you might have had to, like, wanted the chisels, and you might have wanted a plane that was stacked, like, underneath it. So technically you would have to pull everything out. That's one thing I don't like about the Japanese toolbox, where the Dutch tool chest, you know, you basically lift the lid up, and then, you know, you just, you know, everything's there to hand ready. That's one thing I really do like about that. Also like the little compartment underneath. You know, I like how it's you know, basically tied in. You know, you've got your two little buttons that slide down either side. You know, and it stops anyone from getting in. You know, I think that's a really cool idea, and obviously I believe these had locks fitted to them, you know, for thieves basically. So I do like the way that little compartment's locked. Another thing I do like as well, you can actually kind of add to these as well. You know, you've got your main body, but then you can do like another, you know, kind of do you know like campaign chest of drawers. You know, I think they date back to the 18th century. I think it's the 18th century, and basically it's like a chest of drawers, but these chest of drawers, they kind of, I believe they come in like as a two. I think it's two drawers, and basically they just stack on top of each other. Well, it's kind of it's a similar principle with the Dutch tool chest, so you can add like one or two more on. I believe. I think, to be honest, I think I've only ever seen one, like you know, one underside, one underneath, you know, extra compartments. But I do quite like that. You know, it's a really good idea. So you might see a build of one of them in the future on YouTube from myself. Like I say, I think it's more just the fact that I can see I built one. As silly as that sounds, but as I was saying before, I'm always thinking about things like this: toolboxes, tool chests, workbenches. I love to think out of things like that. You know, it's a good, it's a real pleasure to do things like that. So I'm getting pretty close to my time now. So I was going to kind of talk about a couple of concepts. So I'm going to quickly run through these. As I said, I am nearing my time now. So on a Japanese style toolbox, this has been kicking around in my mind for a long time now. On the side of the Japanese toolbox, how I pretty much use it as a makeshift moxon vise. Instead of making it a makeshift moxon vise, I've thought to myself, why not just actually like make a moxon vise, like actually build a moxon vise into the toolbox. You know, so as a proof of concept, just the other day when I was thinking about, you know, what to talk about on this podcast, and I says, I'll talk about toolboxes and whatnot. So proof of concept, because if you're building the tool chest, I didn't really want like to go out myself, or for anybody else to go out and have to buy any special ironmongery, you know, to make like the moxon vise, because obviously you can go out and you can buy the proper handles and whatnot. So as what I used, as I said, it was just a proof of concept. It was a couple of pieces of wood, sandwiched them together. I drilled 2 holes through. I stuck 2 bolts through. I think these bolts were like 10mm in diameter. I stuck a couple of washers on, and I stuck some wing nuts on. Basically stuck a piece of timber in, tightened the 2 of them up, and you'd be surprised at how well it actually held the piece of timber. There was a bit of movement, but I was really, you know, when you're really forcing it. So I think that would be something I'd like to do somewhere down the line. I think that's got a lot of potential. even just with the two, the two wing nuts, and these were only finger tightened as well. So, if you were going to do some dovetailing on, like say two boards glued together, so you had the width of two boards, and you were going to do multiple dovetails, which that's how I kind of use the boxes. I think, as I said, that's got a lot of potential. So that is something I'm gonna build it. I don't know when, but that's a definite. So another concept for myself was kind of a tool caddy. Obviously, because I like the weight. Obviously, there tends to be less weight in caddies. And it's good for hunting material around. But at the same time, you haven't got protection from the elements, the rain and whatnot. So I kind of had the idea to mix a caddy with a tool roll up. So you would build like a very basic frame, and then use like a canvas or a leather, to give you the protection or the cover from the rain and whatever. So in all essence, it would kind of be like a tool bag, like a canvas tool bag, but you'd have you'd have a wooden skeleton or a wooden frame inside of it, giving it support, so like the leather wouldn't sag in, and obviously you'd have places to put your chisels and everything. So as soon as you open it up and you roll back the leather, you'd have instant access to all your tools. All your chisels will be, standing up, ready for you, in tool holders, what you'd made. So that was another concept. I'd like to build it. I don't know if I ever will build it. But I personally think it's a really good idea, because it kind of deals with the issue of the weight, but obviously it deals with the issue of the weather as well, should it start raining. So I think I've only got time for one more, so I think I'll mention the one about the sawhorse. So same again, if you go on to my Instagram, there'll be a folding sawhorse. Again, this is a couple of years ago, good few years ago actually. I actually done a video on it. I think at the time, I still had my table saw, so the video would be a power tool video, but if you're interested, you can check it out. So it was basically that design. Obviously the legs fold out, they get locked into place with a bolt and some wing nuts, and it kind of tapers out. I think it tapers out like it splays at 5 degrees and it rakes at 5 degrees. So it's actually a pretty sturdy sawhorse. So I pretty much wanted to take that idea and basically make it a little bit wider, make it a little bit longer, and basically put a floor in it so I could put tools in it. That was kind of the idea, and obviously the lid would lock into place, and I could basically, the idea, not me personally, but you could take that onto a site with you. I did even contemplate putting some sort of like wheels on it and stuff. That's a pretty cool idea. That might be one I make in the future, just for the sake of saying, yeah, I kind of built it. Do you know what I mean? But I think I'm going to wrap it up there, because I've literally got like seconds left. So thanks everyone for listening. A big thank you for everyone that's been supporting us on YouTube, been subscribing, all the people that's been following us on Instagram and whatever, really appreciate all that. Really means a lot to us. And until the next time, I'll catch you guys later.